The NBA forgot about Cam Reddish. Originally, when Cam got drafted, there was a ton of hype and excitement around his name. Although he wasn't seen to be as good as his two counterparts at Duke in Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett, there was still a ton of hype and excitement around his name, and there was a real argument to be made that Cam Reddish was actually the most skilled out of all those guys. But unfortunately, after all that hype, after playing for a couple different teams in his young NBA career, Cam never truly flourished in the NBA level, and at this point I would say a majority of NBA fans consider Cam Reddish to be an NBA draft bust at this point. But I'm here to tell you that there's still a ton of talent with Cam Reddish, and the most recent team that he's on in the Los Angeles Lakers is going to be a perfect situation for Cam to truly flourish at the NBA level. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy Sports. I make opinionated NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. Cam Reddish was drafted with the number 10 overall selection during the 2019 NBA draft by the Atlanta Hawks. And originally when Cam was being drafted, he was seen as a guy that had legitimate star potential in the NBA. He was a guy that had a lot of different capabilities offensively, but most importantly, he was a really good three-point shooter. And although he didn't necessarily shoot the highest percentage in his 1 year with Duke, teams weren't necessarily all that concerned about that, just due to the fact that he had a really nice shooting form. And teams thought that shooting form would eventually translate to the NBA level, and he would eventually shoot a pretty high percentage. And in Cam's first season with the Atlanta Hawks, he did show a lot of those things that teams were very excited about coming into the NBA. As from that three-point range, Cam was doing a really nice job at spreading the court out and hitting those catch-and-shoot three-point jump shots. He was also doing a really nice job at creating his own jump shot from that three-point range, whether you talk about sidestep, step back, or even cross over into a three-point jump shot. And from that three-point area, Cam was shooting around 33%, which I would say isn't necessarily what teams were expecting coming into the NBA, but similar to his 1 year in college with Duke, a lot of teams, but more specifically in this case, the Atlanta Hawks were willing to be a little bit patient with his three-point shooting ability, just due to the fact that he was still a very young player, and they thought his three-point shooting percentage would eventually come on as the years did progress. But besides just his three-point shooting ability, he was also showing a lot of different flashes of what he was able to do even besides that. As from that mid-range area, Cam was doing a really nice job at hitting that one dribble pull-up, post turnaround fadeaway, crossover, sidestep, or even step back from that mid-range area. And overall, in terms of his shooting ability, Cam was able to do basically everything out there. But once driving all the way to the basket, Cam was also very good and talented as well, as he had a really nice ability to be crafty around the basket and finish either with his left or right hand. He had nice floaters in the lane, even had the capability to dunk over players at times. And when you looked at his overall scoring ability from his three-point range all the way down to his driving and finishing ability, in his first rookie season with the Atlanta Hawks, he was doing a really nice job at basically doing everything. Now, one thing that I will say is he wasn't necessarily the most consistent with it, but at the same time, he was showing a lot of flashes of what he could potentially be at the NBA level. Now, in his second season with the Hawks, I would say overall his stats did get a little bit better, although his three-point percentage definitely did take a decent dip. The season following, a very similar thing happened to him, but after 3 seasons with the Atlanta Hawks, the Hawks just had so many different wings out there, and Cam wasn't necessarily excelling as quick as Atlanta would like, and he wasn't really getting all that much playing time, so the Hawks ended up deciding to move him on to the New York Knicks and traded him off. And originally when he got traded to the New York Knicks, the expectation was he would get a lot of playing time, and he would be a true piece for this New York Knicks roster alongside his teammate at Duke and RJ Barrett. But unfortunately in New York for Cam Reddish, it was a very similar situation to Atlanta, as for whatever reason the Knicks just weren't really willing to play Cam Reddish all that much. In that limited action he did get, I would say he was playing decent. He wasn't necessarily playing great or all that poorly, but at the end of the day, head coach Tom Thibodeau at the time just wasn't willing to give Cam Reddish all that much time out there, and eventually he was taken out of the rotation, and basically he was in the same exact situation in New York that he was in with Atlanta. And then after around 2 seasons with the New York Knicks, the Knicks decided to trade him way to the Portland Trail Blazers. And with the Blazers, Cam certainly did get a much bigger opportunity as he did bump up his numbers once again, but after only one season with the Blazers, Cam Reddish is once again on the move as he did recently sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. And when you look at Cam Reddish's career overall so far, I would definitely say he didn't necessarily get the biggest opportunities in really all the places that he went to, but more specifically the Hawks and the Knicks. But at the same time, I would also say he didn't necessarily take advantage of the limited opportunities that he did get. And I think a huge reason for why he wasn't getting all that many opportunities out there was just due to the fact that he had a certain level of expectations and he just wasn't really meeting them. And although you could say he is a young player, and of course that's completely understandable, some players progress at different paces, and I still think Cam has a ton of potential going forward, but I do at the same time think it is somewhat fair to say that he didn't necessarily take advantage of his opportunities so far. But with all that being said, I actually think the next team that he's going to be going to in the Los Angeles Lakers is going to be his best opportunity to really fulfill those expectations that he had upon draft day. But the question at this point is, why do I feel this way? Why do I think the Lakers are a really good situation for Cam? Now, there's a couple different reasons why I think this, but the first and most obvious reason is due to the fact that he's playing with LeBron James. Now, playing with LeBron James for Cam is going to be very beneficial both on the court but also off the court. But talking about the on-court benefits, Cam is going to get a ton of wide open looks. Whether you talk about wide open catch and shoot 3-point jump shots or wide open dunks and layups once he's driving all the way to the basket. Really, for any player, playing with LeBron just makes your life easier out there, but especially when you talk about a guy in Cam who has a really nice 3-point shooting stroke, I think his overall shooting percentage is going to be a lot higher in LA than really it ever was throughout his entire career so far. But moving on to some of the off-court benefits, Cam is going to get to learn from one of the greatest players of all time. He's going to see how hard LeBron works in practice, how hard he works in the training room, see how much film he watches, and although Cam has been in the NBA for a decent amount of time at this point, he still is very young in the NBA and really young in general. So learning from a player like LeBron James, both on the court but also off the court, is going to be something that's extremely beneficial to really any player, but especially a guy in Cam Reddish, who in my opinion has all the talent in the world but just needs to put everything together. Now, the next reason for why I think the Lakers are a really good situation for Cam has to be the fit, because I think either way, if Cam is starting, he's going to get a lot more wide open looks, but even if he's coming off the bench, he's going to have a really nice opportunity to create for himself in a lower pressure role. And I think some of the other players the Lakers have on the roster are just going to benefit Cam very nicely, once again, whether he's starting or coming off the bench. And overall, I just really do like the fit of a guy who's a really good 3-point shooter, but also has a lot of different abilities to his game as well that Cam Reddish would provide to the Los Angeles Lakers. But I guess only time will tell what does end up happening throughout the rest of Cam Reddish's career. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Cam Reddish has the opportunity to play very well in LA, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, check one of these two videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out, guys.